Yep, we're live. It should show us in just a second. There it is.
Wow.
The iPad went off, so I got to fix that real quick. Boom. Properties. Are you on Let's View?
I think so. Yeah.
Don't see it.
Yeah, it says Let's View desktop.
Do you see it up there? Oh, there it is. Boom. All right. And then... All right.
We should make a documentary on the making of a podcast.
Let's see. Yep.
We're good?
We're good. I'm going to switch this to the viewing one so we can see the chat better if it comes in. There. Live. Shows live.
Beautiful.
Full screen.
There we
You
go.
want to see the chat?
Yes, you're right. There we go.
Cool. All right, man.
Okay, we're back, right? We're back.
We're back.
I'm going to make noises. That's our we're back sound, I guess. Anyway, little Streamlab download. Lost the camera in the process, so the view
Weird as hell.
the view of Juice isn't quite as close up or as good. But don't worry, we'll work on that for the first show.
Yep.
We got plenty of Jared.
Yes. Yes, we do. Lots of extra space. It's because I took Juice's camera.
It's all good.
Yeah, it works. Okay, so we were talking about games that we liked. I asked you for a team that you might thought having a breakout season that wasn't in the AFC West, and you gave me Nico Collins. Is that about?
Oh, right. And I feel like everyone is shitting on Patty Mills, which I know it's not Patty Mills, but I've always called him Patty Mills.
You do.
It's Davis Mills, is that right?
That is correct.
It is.
All right, Davis Mills. I feel like he's going to be a lot better than people give him credit for. So, I mean...
That's quite a statement.
And what I've been reading from the preseason, and which is why I even like their running back, Pierce.
I just drafted him onto a season-long team, so...
So I feel like they'll be better than everyone's going to give them credit for, but obviously they're not going to be the best, but I feel like we're going to get a lot more out of them than everyone thinks. So, good value. I like them. We'll see what happens.
I'm a little high on Houston, probably more so than
A lot of other people?
the rest of the industry. I do agree. I think Mills should take a step forward. Still has Brandon Cooks, our boy.
Yep.
Only 5,300 week one.
Yeah. And then, of course, Pierce. Is it Pierce? The running back?
Pierce.
Yeah, he's generated a lot of buzz in the preseason.
So I'm going to answer my question that neither of you answered. I like Indianapolis as a team that's not in the AFC West that should be high scoring and produce a lot of touchdowns. I like Pittman, Matt Ryan, Taylor as all season long guys. And anyway, that's the answer to my question that I posed, which was what teams do we like? Now, is there any like anomalies? We were talking also about Juice, how you went about kind of making a week one lineup versus, weeks 2 through 17, where we'll have the week prior, at least as information. What do you think? Maybe some things that the people out there that aren't thinking of, maybe an angle to look at some of the transactions that happened in the offseason, some of the changes that occurred. I mean, obviously, like Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins, stuff like that. What's Deebo Samuel re-signing with the 49ers? What offseason transactions that may went under the radar that might affect daily fantasy in your eyes?
Well, I don't know if I answered like how I would build a lineup in week one. I just said like kind of who the higher scoring games should be coming from.
Right.
But what I will say is I think week one, we've always said like with quarterbacks, play who you want.
Right. Yeah, even week one.
Even week one. And I would also I'd take that a step further in week one, play who you like because ownership is spread out. We have very little data to go off of.
Right.
So if there's somebody or something that you like, just go with it. I mean,
there really truly are like 20 playable quarterbacks, if not like 25 playable quarterbacks week one. Like
you could make an argument for just about anybody.
the pricing of them are so varied, it makes some of them more playable. I mean, you can always play Mahomes and Herbert, at the upper left, but there's so much in between and so much in the bottom level that it just really depends what type of build you're doing week one as far as if you want to pay up at quarterback or pay down. I'm always a pay down at quarterback type of guy, so I'm always looking. I think this week 1 offers a ton of value.
Oh, for sure.
So switching over to some individual basis, let's switch over to the quarterback position. Who are some of the guys that might week 1 that look like kind of just, maybe a top 3 of guys that you're kind of looking at? Obviously, don't spoil next week who we're going to fire off with our wide receiver combo, but who are some names you're looking at?
What if I told you that Colt McCoy was more expensive than a quarterback I'm really high on this week?
Really?
I think I know which quarterback that is. I think it's Jones for New York, it's amazing. Have you looked at him at all, Jared?
Daniel Jones?
Yes, you've talked us into him a couple times.
I have, but he's burned me a few times
He was actually on the board at one point, was he not?
Me? Yes.
The board of people.
Oh, he was on the board last season. Yes, he burned me hard.
That will not be played.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones at 5,000 is amazing. How is Colt McCoy more expensive than?
I mean, Gardner Minshew is as expensive as Daniel Jones this week. Todd Huntley is as expensive as Daniel Jones this week.
Tennessee's not the defense. It's at Tennessee.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you some things. It's an afternoon game. No weather concerns, no nothing. Why?
Should we talk about the weather right now?
I mean, I think week 1 it's not a concern. Right?
Yeah,
it's going to be hard to make any weather prognostications.
It might be really hot in some places, right?
What are you guys feeling about Trevor Lawrence this season?
What's he coming in at week 1 at?
5,600.
I think Daniel Jones at 5,000 is much better.
I mean, but Andy Dalton is more expensive than Daniel Jones.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's crazy.
Sam Darnold, who's out week 1, is more expensive.
I mean, another guy that, if you want to play the narrative street, Carolina is playing at home against Cleveland.
I think Baker's a good start.
Baker, he's looked good preseason.
What was he at, 5,200?
5,300?
Do you think Baker's going to be better than he's ever been this season?
I think if he's healthy, he might be healthier than he's been, right?
I think this is a make or break year for Baker Mayfield.
Absolutely.
If he doesn't perform this year, he might never get another chance.
So week 1, obviously, you've got cash game versus tournament play. Guys, we're talking about, you can play in both, right?
Yeah, but if you go up a little bit more, Jared mentioned Davis Mills at 5,300.
I mean, he's a great pair with Cooks week 1, I think, right?
I'll tell you, a sneaky guy like
Run
this
it back
week,
with Pittman or Taylor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A sneaky guy like this week is famous Jameis Winston.
He's another. We try to do a little crossover season-long steal that you can get late. If he's healthy, he's going to he puts out numbers if he's healthy.
He does. He throws it down the field.
Atlanta is going to be like monumentally bad.
So who I like in that game
with Winston
is Mariota. I think Mariota is the fantasy quarterback in season long and in DFS.
Really?
Have you watched any of the preseason? You've been
not
pretty busy.
Not of Mariota. Not of Mariota.
So can I tell you a fact that he scored a rushing touchdown in every preseason game? He might not have scored one of the last. The first 2 for sure. He scored a rushing touchdown. Would that interest you?
That is interesting. He's also the only quarterback that's ever successfully thrown a touchdown to himself.
Yeah. Playing in the Dome all year, he is truly the guy. They could go a rookie later in the year if they're out of it. But anyway, at 5,200, the Saints aren't the best matchup for him, so I probably wouldn't fire him week 1.
Do you think he's going to be very kind to Pitts this year?
Yes, I think Pitts and Drake London both are destined for good use.
Pitts could be the number 1 tight end this year.
I picked him last night. I'm glad you said that.
We act like he had a sort of a subpar rookie year, but he caught for over 1,000 yards
and like 80 catches.
Yeah, as a rookie tight end.
It hasn't been done in a long time.
I think it might have been the most prolific tight end rookie season ever.
Anyway, so as you guys are pointing out, Mariota has some weapons. They're young. They're on. Anyway, I think there's a lot of value in Atlanta this year that is going unnoticed because people have just kind of written them off.
Do you think Patterson's going to be the same Patterson? He's still at Atlanta, isn't he?
I really like the rookie out of BYU. I was a big fan of him at BYU, Algier.
Yeah.
He's an every down type back, meaning, he could easily handle the first and second downs and give up third down to Patterson. But the thing that I noticed about Patterson is every time he gets the ball, it's 8 yards. It's a catch for 10 yards. It's he in the goal line, he gets in the end zone. Anyway, he is a very undervalued. I don't know what to make of that. I think by later in the season, I have heard that they had moved Patterson back to more traditional wide receiver role, which as a fantasy player, as a guy who's going to get that running back tag, if he really truly gets moved to a wide receiver role, he's still a great fantasy player, right?
Yeah. Real quick, you mentioned that you could start 25 quarterbacks this week.
I
right?
think so.
I think that was a very prescient statement. But let me read from 6,000 to 5,400 the quarterbacks that are available.
Okay.
Trey Lance,
Great.
Derek Carr, Tannehill, Tua, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, and then Mac Jones. You could make an argument for maybe any one of those guys.
I like it. I mean, yeah. I mean, like I said, obviously the guys you're not making an argument for are Watson, who's not playing. But other than that, like, I can play Herbert at Las Vegas at 7,600, pair him up with cheap tight end, Palmer, something like that, if you don't want to spend too much on your wide receiver.
Palmer's had a good preseason.
Same thing with Mahomes. I mean, they're playing Arizona. That's going to probably be the highest scoring game of the
It
week.
is the highest scoring game of the week.
You mentioning Mahomes reminds me of a question I'm wondering about. Do you guys think that there's going to be a wide receiver in Kansas City that everyone's going to want, or is it going to be so like across the board that nobody's going to be really willing to play anybody?
Take that one, Juice, and I'll give my opinion after you.
So, I mean, if I were to start a franchise today and I needed a quarterback, I would still draft Patrick Mahomes as number one, in my opinion. With that being said, I think we saw the real Travis Kelce emerge in the playoffs last year. He was unstoppable. So, I mean, I think
he's wide receiver one, right?
Whatever. He's option one, whatever you want to call him.
Whatever you call him.
Whatever you want to call him. But he's going to have a monster year, I think. And then I think he's going to have 3 or 4 receivers that are just going to sort of.
It's not going to be like Tyreek Hill where you can get one for 40 points every week.
We're probably not going to onslaught stack like the Chiefs like we did last year. With Mahomes and Hill, and if we wanted to go Kelce.
Do you think Kelsey's going to be the same Kelce?
I think so. I think he's
32.
He is, but if there's ever a week you're going to play Travis Kelce, it's probably going to be week 1. He's 6,600.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Arizona used to be, remember the whole theory 3 years ago, you played tight end against Arizona?
Yeah.
We're getting some stuff up there if you guys can see it.
Awesome. Travis Kelce was an $8,000 a week player last year. So he's at a discount right now.
Will I be crazy if I trade Jamar Chase and Zeke for Eckler? I also have Keenan. If trade goes through, my team would Lamar, Eckler, Singletary, Keenan, Cooks, Kelce. What I'm doing is I'm reading from a question on our chat from Sebastian. Sebastian, thank you for the question.
Yeah.
I would not trade Jamar Chase if this is any.
Oh, absolutely not. Especially for Zeke. I'm actually not that high on Zeke this year.
No, he's trading Zeke for Eckler.
I do like Eckler, but I think Eckler
but he's losing Chase, right?
Yeah. I think Zeke gives you enough back that losing Chase isn't worth it. That Zeke is.
Yeah.
It's going to make up for 75% of Eckler's production, if not 80%. And Chase, you're not going to get.
Chase is easily like a top 3 wide receiver on the year.
I took Chase. I had the second pick in an ESPN league, which is only two wideouts, 2 running backs, and a flex, which is much different than the high stakes leagues, which are 2, 3, and 2. And so I took Chase with my second pick. I didn't have him on any other team, and I wanted him.
Yeah, usually whenever I was doing best ball, it was either Cup or Chase that I wanted to get.
Yeah, I have Cup on a lot. I got a lot of exposure to Cup. People are down. Cup was going as far as drafting down as far as the 5th pick in some leagues.
Wow. Yeah, I saw it a couple times.
I don't really agree with that. But,
yeah. CMC and Eckler are the 2 that bounced way up from the early drafts to now. CMC's going number 1 in a lot, where Taylor was going number 1 in every draft. The first World Championship League draft that I saw, first super high stakes league I saw drafted, Jefferson went number 1.
Yeah, what I was looking at his last year's stats, and I see why.
Well, they also changed offensive coordinators. And the offensive coordinator last year was a run-heavy guy. This year, he's notoriously pass-heavy. Tien is a steal, I think, later in the rounds because of how many passes they're going to get this year versus last year. I think that's why Jefferson.
Here's my bold prediction I got this year.
Okay, I like it. Let's do. Whoa! Hold on. We need music for this.
I think Dalvin Cook will be the number 1 running back when all said and done this
Really?
year.
Wow. Now, I have not drafted in accordance with that whatsoever. That's a big statement. That's a big one.
They got a new offensive coordinator. You got to remember, 2 years ago, Dalvin Cook was the number 1 running back in the league. I think this new coordinator is going to give them more of an emphasis on running the ball. I think Madison is. It wouldn't surprise me if he's gone by some point this year.
You think Madison might be gone?
Yeah.
Really?
Traded
Yeah.
somewhere else?
Yeah.
He is. I mean, I think Madison could start somewhere else.
I do too, but I just think they're kind of like they're a little bit over him, and they drafted a running back that I think in a couple of years will be pretty good. And I'll look up his name, but I think Dalvin Cook is just.
Well, they have the kid from Iowa State that's so fast. Do you remember him? Nguadjwe or whatever?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He runs like a 4.2.
Yeah, that might be what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Yeah, Nwangwu or something like that.
Out of Iowa State. He was
Yeah.
he was really good at Iowa State.
Right.
Very fast. Yes, I can see him taking the backup role and then Madison getting some value for Madison.
Yeah, but I just
That's a
think
big statement. So say it again.
I think Dalvin Cook will be the number 1 scoring running back by the end of the season.
How old is he now? 26, 27?
He's not that old.
Yeah, he's still pretty young.
He's still very young. There's a big if he can stay healthy, because that's kind of been sort of a deal like last couple of years. But I just think he's primed for a breakout season this year.
Well, that's a great transition to running back. Obviously, this is in daily fantasy. You can start as many as 3.
Oh, yeah, I got a lot of questions here.
Whoa, we'll get to the questions. But as far as running backs go, in daily fantasy, week 1 is obviously I kind of like to fall on the safe side. What do you tend to try to do with running backs? I'm not trying to. It's hard to expose value week 1 at running back. Just not knowing the carries, not knowing the pass attempts. So in building my week 1 team, I've gone pretty safe. Eckler has made pretty much a lot of my lineups. I've got a lot of top shelf. I've done Eckler Kamara combos. I've done some CMC Eckler combos, but I'm only playing 2 of them because I think there's more value at flex in the wide receiver position. The lower end running back to me is a little bit more tough. What do you think, Juice?
I think it's. Again, we've got 13 games. We've got 26 teams on this slate. We got a lot to choose from. How can you not like Eckler, right? He had a monster year last year.
Coming off potentially high scoring game.
100%. There's another guy who I've been drafting a lot in best ball this year. I just think is going to bounce back. He's healthy again. Saquon Barkley is 6,100.
Really? You think he's going to bounce back?
I do. I am bullish on the Giants.
Your buddy
offense.
Chris Hart has said some good things about Barkley, in my understanding, in preparation for our season-long drafts.
When we're drafting a running back or we're taking a quarterback, the ideal thing we're looking for in a quarterback is plays 3 downs and gets goal line work and can get catches.
Mm-hmm.
He checks all those boxes.
Yep, I agree.
I
guess it's just
so
like
I think, just from what I've heard from the first couple conversations here, you like the Giants' offense as maybe a surprise.
I think they're going to
fantasy
be.
team.
I think they're going to be a borderline playoff team this year.
Well, I know how much you both love Tony, right?
Yeah. If you can, it's the same question for Tony that I have for Barkley. Is can they stay healthy?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, what about as far as week 1 starts? Does Barkley have a good matchup week 1? Have you looked at him?
Not really. He's
Tennessee.
He's Tennessee.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's. I think it's kind of a neutral matchup.
He'd be. I would say, in my theory of trying to play safe running backs, he would be a little less on the unsafe side, or a little more headed towards the unsafe than safe.
I think one thing we've tried to do with running backs in the past is like play game script, meaning that we want to take a quarterback that we think is going to be winning at the end of the game. So they're making sure that they're getting their catches, grinding up yards at the end of the game, getting carries, getting touches.
I put a guy in the lineup here. We're not building a lineup, but just to highlight him. You talked about him to me. Toby Biocchini has been high on him in some redraft leagues. He probably wouldn't appreciate that I keep that low since we still have some leagues to drafts. Anyway, Pierce, the running back for Houston. We've all said we like Houston as an offensive team that we like a little better. 4,800 is dust for a running back.
Oh, absolutely. What's the matchup on that?
That is running back dust. Indianapolis is good against the run, but
They are.
Pierce, I don't think you're going to get your points with 100-yard games and touchdowns. You're thinking they're going to throw to him 5 or 6 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
Is David Johnson off the roster?
For all intents and purposes,
he's not on the team.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he could be the David Johnson role.
Yeah,
I mean, Houston showed even a late in career David Johnson was producing good fantasy points for Houston. Why couldn't the rookie Pierce if he's going to get the same opportunity?
yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to emphasize him at 4,800.
I think it's a good call. I mean, for 4,800, it seems like you could still get your value out of it.
Just my sneak preview for next week is I think I mentioned this once already. I really like the Indianapolis-Houston game as a points-producing game week 1. I think it's a layup game. What I mean is I think both teams score 4 touchdowns, right? And then it could go from there. Knowing that, I think building lineups with Matt Ryan, Pittman, running it back with Pierce, Collins, Cooks, I think make a lot of sense for value. I mean, you're not paying a lot for any of those guys.
The only thing I'm concerned I have with Pierce in week 1 is Houston is getting 8 points at home, so they're a big dog.
Yeah, they are.
And I don't know how involved he's going to be in the passing game to start the season. So it's probably something I'd want to look at before I try him out. But I mean, I don't mind him as a play.
He doesn't go with my safe theory, but he certainly he's somebody as far as if you're wanting just pure value, or if you're building a lineup to save some money. Someone else I'd like to talk to you about that I think some listeners might have questions about building a lineup week 1. What about Etienne? Where do you see him for Jacksonville?
Man, I don't know what to do with that situation. Like,
I mean, he was so amazing out of college. He was amazing in high school.
Yeah.
He's coming in to play with a guy that he played with all through college.
He's got the shower narrative going with Trevor Lawrence.
They
played in college together.
He's got fresh legs. He sat out a whole year.
I seriously feel like with Jacksonville and their running back, it's gonna rely a lot on the hot hand because I mean James Robinson's been producing for them since they've had him. This is a 3rd year in the NFL.
I don't mean to come off very adversarial week 1, but let me teach you a little something about the NFL. Where was James Robinson drafted, and how much do they pay him to be on their team?
Not much.
Where was Travis Etienne drafted, and what do they pay him for the privilege of him being on the team?
Yeah, but still, at the same time, he's produced, and if he doesn't, then they're going to easily
move on.
How
the NFL works.
Well,
okay,
they want to win, right?
They want to win. Oh yeah.
So
Jacksonville's not. First concern this year isn't winning, first of all. Second of all, it's building a team for the future, which I don't think James Robinson would be any part of, right?
Okay, well, if that's how they approach it, I feel like James Robinson's going to get a team next year, and he's going to.
I would agree with you. I think that James Robinson is a talented running back.
Yeah.
I would agree with you. I love James Robinson.
Let me be the tiebreaker on this.
Okay.
So James Robinson is coming off an ACL injury.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is a death knell for running backs.
Right.
So I kind of want to see how good he looks before I go crazy. I mean, James Robinson made us money. He's done well for us in the past. So we like James Robinson on the show. But I want to see what he's like. I will throw a couple names out there of cheaper plays at running back that I'm intrigued by.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm not saying play James Robinson week 1. I'm saying throughout the season, I feel like he might end up being a value pickup.
Like in a season-long situation, he's somebody you want to watch out if you're firing Etienne in the second.
Yeah, I would say if you're getting them, get both of them.
Right.
But, I don't really feel comfortable playing Etienne in daily fantasy right now either because, I mean, we don't know what it's going to look like.
Right.
Let me throw a couple names.
Okay, cheap running backs, dumpster diving, right?
Ramondre Stevenson at 5,500, I think could be a nice little value.
Okay.
Elijah Mitchell for the 49ers at Chicago. Chicago is going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL this year.
Really?
$5,400 I think is good value. And then another guy I'm really kind of sneaky, like drafting a lot in best ball, is Chase Edmonds for the Dolphins.
So
everyone's so high on Chase Edmonds.
Here's what worries me about Chase Edmonds is, as you know, I'm a Dolphins fan. As you guys know, I'm a huge Dan Lebitard and Stugatz podcast fan, which is based out of Miami.
Yep.
So I hear a lot about the Miami team. Every interview they do with Miami, like Tyreek Hill, they mention Mostert, and they don't mention Edmonds.
Mm-hmm.
They're always like, hey, Tua's got a ton of weapons. They've got Gesicki, they've got Hill, Waddle, and Mostert. They don't ever say Edmonds. You see what I'm saying?
And that's been kind of like
now,
the theme of the Chase Edmonds history.
The thing that might they be mentioning Mostert, not Edmonds, is because they always talk about how fast Miami is, and Mostert is particularly fast at running the 40. So I don't know if they're just mentioning him like, hey, we have all the speed, or hey, he's really going to be the guy. If you remember in San Francisco, who he's following, his offensive coordinator, when Mostert was healthy, he killed it. He was a fantasy stud.
He was.
So that's a great question coming out of camp.
It is.
Is Edmonds or Mostert really going to – because they're both going to get catches. They're both going to – so whichever one is the guy could be a fantasy stud.
They're pretty similar, I guess, as far as like play style.
Right.
But, I
like Chase Edmonds.
I struggle to put any kind of value into Chase Edmonds because it seems that's the history of Chase Edmonds is he seems like he's going to be the guy, and then by the end of the season he's not. He's thrown to the side.
Mostert coming out of week 1 is 4,800. And him and Pierce both. I mean, if Mostert gets 3 or 4 catches, he pays for himself really quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think I'd like to see who's the starter week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would be that would kind of tilt the scale a little bit. But other running backs I think that we could like this week. Gosh, I mean, Aaron Jones should have a lot of catches this year.
Rodgers is on record saying that both running backs will have over 50 catches.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a committee, but I bet you it's a very lucrative committee.
Alvin Kamara has a juicy matchup.
It just means A.J. Dillon's a standalone running back in fantasy, probably.
Yeah.
Who was last?
Alvin Kamara, like a juicy matchup.
So let's talk about
Atlanta.
Kamara. I think Kamara is the week 1. He has made my week 1 lineup, and that was after a ton of builds. He just and A, it's the matchup. A, it's where they're playing, and B, it's the fact that I think he's going to go solo owned, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, there's probably a little bit of doubt in him, isn't there?
Not
I don't
for
know
me.
why. You know what he averaged? He's a monster fantasy when he plays. Yeah. Like his averages are crazy.
Didn't he deal with a lot of injury last year?
A little more than usual. Yeah, he dealt with his quarterback being injured all last year.
Yeah.
So him having Winston back, I think, could really help him a lot, right?
Yeah. I will tell you, I'm not going to play this week. Is Derrick Henry.
Ooh, I like that matchup.
Not going to play Derrick Henry.
8,600. No.
I mean, that's so expensive for him.
So wait, how much improved is the Giants defense?
Not. Probably.
Not? Well, they're one of the lowest rankings currently.
No, I agree. I think
But again, how improved is Tennessee's offense?
they
Just lost A.J. Brown.
They lost, but wouldn't that mean that? I mean, wouldn't that mean that they use them more?
No. They kept like 6 running backs. No. They kept 6 running backs on their roster for a reason. You can name like 5 running backs that are on the Tennessee's roster.
Can we all remember that whenever Derrick Henry got injured, he literally broke his ankle and kept playing?
Yeah. He's a stud.
I love him. But again,
you know my love affair with Derrick.
I'm not playing Taylor at 9,100 either. By the way,
I don't know. Of course, I mean, if you've been watching this and if you know me at all, I'm not gonna. This seems like a good matchup.
If you've watched the pivot over the last 2 years, you know that the Derrick Henry debate is real.
It is real.
And
there is few weeks where I say, no, I'm not playing him.
Is he still on your keeper league team?
Yes, he is.
Okay, so
yes, he is.
I just want to make sure that.
Actually, I traded him in my money league, and I kept him in my dynasty
Here's
league.
how down I am on Derrick Henry. I don't think I've drafted him in one best ball league.
I don't know why you would do that to yourself, Juice.
I don't have him on anything.
I don't think I have him on one single
Nothing.
team.
You guys are
Actually, I have him on one team. I remember.
You guys are not giving him enough credit.
I think he's a great player. I just think that where you have to draft him.
All right, then I have a serious question for both of you.
Okay.
Do you think Derrick Henry will be within the top 5 running backs on the end of the year?
I'd say no right now.
Okay, Juice?
No.
Okay, how about the top 10 at the end of the year?
Yes.
Probably. Yeah.
Probably? Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to gauge it.
So last year I'm on record, and this is a little toot your own horn, of saying draft Jonathan Taylor at any spot. 1 through 12, just take it. This year coming in, I was Javonte Williams for me. But I've fallen off of him and only recently kind of jumped back on that ship with the Melvin Gordon injury. What is your guys' thoughts in Denver with Williams? He is in college, he is as talented a running back as I've ever seen play college football.
I feel like now that
he was with Michael Carter, wasn't he?
Yeah.
They were on that same backfield.
They rushed for 600 yards against Miami. Against Miami.
I feel like
the last year they were together, they literally had 600 yards rushing.
I mean, not only Javonte Williams, but I think for the entire Denver offense, this is their year. It's been a decade. I'm a Denver fan, so I've been experiencing.
I'm glad that your personal preferences don't get in the way of any of your analysis.
No, I'm a Denver fan. No, I'm saying for the last 10 years, we've had to deal with just dog shit quarterbacks for a decade. after we lost Peyton Manning to a retirement.
Yeah, well,
it's been nothing.
There was
now
one dog shit year of Peyton Manning in there too. So
there is, and they still won the Super Bowl that year.
But that was
they still won the Super Bowl that year. But yes, I feel like Javonte Williams will easily be a top 5 running
top
back.
5?
I feel like
top 30?
Possibly, but I don't want to be that confident.
Okay.
But and I think same thing with Jerry Jeudy and Cutton or Sutton.
Cutton.
I think Sutton could be a top 5 receiver this year.
Yeah, I think, and a lot of people.
Sutton top 5. Wow.
I could see it.
Wow.
I could see it because he's had nothing to work with.
I don't even know what to press. Wow.
He's had nothing to work with.
He is going to be the role of why am I blanking on the receiver? Metcalf. He's going to be Metcalf in this offense.
Okay, I like it.
I can see it.
Judy's going to be Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, that's a great.
And here's the thing: is they've got Javonte Williams, who, Rashad Penny's been good, but Javonte Williams is Javonte Williams. He is better than Rashad Penny.
Remember, Carson had a great,
and they have a good line and a great defense.
Yes, it's going to be Denver's year. I think for sure they make the playoffs. I feel like you
heard it here first.
All the offensive weapons are going to have a great season. And Sutton especially, he's been slept on.
Okay, so at the very onset of this show, I think there was a question posed. What offense? Oh, wait, I guess that's an AFC West offense, so he couldn't have said Denver. Okay, you're out.
There's a theme that's happening here, guys.
Yes. Okay, so AFC West is where it's at.
We haven't even touched on the Raiders.
That is a problem for
have
Denver. That is a problem for Denver. That whole side is
the Chargers have incredible fantasy.
I know. I'm telling you, like you could just basically use that division this year and build lineups.
Let's get this question. I've saw it up there. Ivan, have to set my keepers today. Can you guys help me choose 2 of the 3? Waddle, yes. I don't even care who the other 2.
St. Brown and Waddle.
Yeah,
St. Brown.
Stop. Are we gonna have? Should we do it right now? Are we gonna have the St. Brown love fest?
Okay, we can't. Well, I think we're still in running back. We'll do that in a bit.
I'm with you on the St. Brown love
fest. I think we can have a St. Brown orgy. I think we all just love St. Brown.
Yes. He's
just put him in the middle here. We can all just fondle St. Brown because he's amazing.
He is.
Do you not hate fucking Hard Knocks, right? Nobody knows who St. Brown is. I mean, some people do, obviously. But Hard Knocks, god dang it, now everybody's watching, knows his dad's Mr. Olympia, knows his 2 brothers play in the NFL.
When I was doing best ball.
Noticed that he played in a team in college that could barely pass, and now he's
he kind of went off at the second half of this. He was like one of the most productive
Top
receivers.
5.
Yeah,
he was
last
top
10 weeks.
if you can consolidate the last 5 weeks, he was a top 5 wide receiver at the end of the season.
Which it's another offense that I think is sleepy, giant, is the Detroit Lions.
Good thing I asked this question, right?
If Jared Goff can keep it between the ears, I think they could be really, really good.
I feel like he's got Cooper Kupp potential, is what I feel like with St. Brown.
Wow.
I mean, just because the targets are there.
Over 400 points?
No, that's why when I was doing best balls, any chance I got to get Kupp and St. Brown on the same team, I was like, I win. Sorry, guys.
I took St. Brown last night. I've taken St. Brown Cook St. Brown is a great combo if you look to pick in the 4th and 5th round.
And they also added DJ Chark, who's low-key a really good addition on that.
Yeah, it's a good addition. Who's the rookie that they drafted too? Detroit. There's some kind of rookie that people have been.
Jameson Williams.
But
he's going to be.
He's not going to play early.
He's not going to play.
No, he's not going to play early. But people were doubting St. Brown because of that draft pick.
And then
so
you
it sounds like we
Hawkinson's
transitioned over to wide receiver, which I like. We need to. St. Brown is on top of the list of players that I love. I have not worked him in my week 1 lineup.
I don't think you have to.
I think our cash lineup, I think he needs to be in there.
I feel like he's going to be a beast. He's going to have the target.
The problem with St. Brown week 1 in DFS is he is, how much is he?
Let's see.
He's 6,100.
6,100.
Where you can get Pittman at 5,500, right? So that's the thing that
I'd rather have St. Brown.
Let's talk about Pittman for a
I think I'd rather have Pittman at 5,500 against Houston on the road.
Pittman going in the season. You talk about roles and offenses.
Okay.
Julio Jones, ring a bell in Atlanta.
Yep.
The one thing Matt Ryan is known for is focusing on a wide receiver.
That's true.
And making
You've told me this, and it's a very good argument. Yeah.
Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
Jones. Pittman is incredibly talented.
But
He's gigantic.
I mean, you're going
In
to play
person.
him over Nico Collins? Pittman
I
or
have
Nico
them both
Collins?
in my week 1 lineup. Just a little sneak preview. Both Nico and
Wow.
Pittman are in that lineup.
I'm going to tell you right now, I am aborting that lineup.
Well, it's not going to be the show lineup. I'm thinking about switching to Pierce though as my run back for.
It's 4,800.
I'm starting Matt Ryan and Pittman. I mean, you can get Matt Ryan and Pittman for like $11,000,
That's pretty good.
and running back with Pierce, and you're still $15,000
Yeah.
spent. Anyway, we'll get there. Where do you want to start? You want to start at wide receivers?
Let's start in the upper tier.
Yeah.
Because I think there's.
Who's your number one?
Oh,
I want to
Are
hear
you
that.
talking season long or week one?
No, season long. Who wins? Cup won the championship last year. Who wins it this year? Receiver wise.
I think it's still Cup.
You still Cup, even
Yeah.
with the old Stafford concern.
I feel like Stafford, he has the longest history, like one of the best histories as far as being a healthy quarterback.
Yeah,
I feel like
he got that surgery done in time to have enough time to get
I
back.
think he'll be fine.
What
it's not a
about
concern of mine.
Allen Robinson? How's he factor in?
When
with
you're
Cup?
when you're getting cortisone shots in June for your elbow, and as a quarterback for NFL,
That's bad, right?
That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good.
But
Okay,
he had surgery, right? I thought he went ahead and had the surgery.
I have to look that up, but I feel
I don't know.
like he's banged up.
He might be banged up, but I'm not concerned. I mean, I was reading up on him. I think he missed one game so far in his entire history of the NFL.
I like it. Okay, so you like Cup to win it all, Julio? You like Cup to win it all as the receiver champ this year?
No.
Who's your receiving champ?
I'm going to go with. God, I hate to do this again. I'm just so bullish on this team. I just love Justin Jefferson.
It's not bad.
It's hard.
I mean, I love
It's
Dalvin
a-
Cook. I love
yeah.
Jefferson. I just think they're going to be
It's
way
their-
different offensively.
They're so due to crack the Green Bay code, right?
Yeah.
And isn't Kirk Cousins kind of the same as you were saying about Matt Ryan, where he loves to just throw to the same guy over and over again?
Yeah, he certainly has. I mean, what I have heard and read about Justin Jefferson is there's no point in any route where he's not open. Mm-hmm. Meaning it's a matter of whether they decide to throw to him or not.
Yeah.
Yep.
That he's just unguardable. Single coverage.
I could totally see him being number one.
He's the perfect build, right, for it. He's strong but slender. He's fast but not weak. Like he's not just a speedster. He truly is almost like Terrell Owens with Tyreek Hill speed, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Wasn't it like didn't the new coach in Minnesota wasn't he the coach for Cousins in Washington when he was going off?
I believe so.
I think that's why I'm so bullish on them right now, because I feel like
They've scored a lot of points in the preseason. They're a team that's very confident with what they've got going into the week one.
I'm done with Minnesota.
Which leads me to this question. So I'm not that high on Devontae Adams, but I could be proven wrong. Apparently he joined a team where he's already worked with this coach before. Is that right?
No.
Is that right?
Devontae Adams
shower narrative.
played for Fresno State.
Yeah.
Where Carr played.
They were teammates.
Okay, so they were teammates. That's where I got it wrong.
And I was like, okay, well, I never really heard of them as teammates. And then I went and looked up their stats. How did I not hear of them?
So you think Devontae Adams good?
I think Devontae Adams is fine. I mean, have you heard what Rodgers has said about him?
No, what did he say?
He said he's basically, it's not me. He's the most talented wide receiver in the league.
No, yeah.
Meaning, don't believe the hype. I didn't create Devontae Adams.
Yeah. My issue with it's not really an issue with Adams, but they got a lot of good skill players in Vegas. I mean, they got Waller, who, at one point we were looking at as the number one tight end in the league. Hunter Renfro,
who exploded last
season.
He had over 100 catches.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. They're just going to have to really spread the ball around a lot. I don't see why.
I wish they had one. I know Josh Jacobs is solid, and I think they drafted
Zamir White.
Yeah, but I wish they just had a stud back, right? They would be so good.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs is disappointing for sure. Do you think there's a dude? I mean, because I didn't ask this while we were doing running backs. Do you think there's a dude that could take his job in
White? Yeah,
White.
And then I've heard from good sources that Abdullah, the guy that played for Detroit, the Nebraska running back, is getting the pass catching duties. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, they're another team that kind of stocked up on running back. Gives you an indication they're not happy with the one they have.
Yeah.
Another guy I like week one, Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
$5,700.
Michael Thomas, the Saint?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he guaranteed to play week one?
I think so.
I think so. I mean, as far as what I can tell, as far as what I've been reading, in practice, he looks like the old Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
Well, that could make them a surprisingly good offensive team with Landry and all they have.
I mean, I will tell you, like a build I'm sort of gravitating towards week 1 is Jameis, Thomas, and then running it back with Pitts from Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, I mean, fairly cheap pieces all around. You could throw in a couple studs around them. So
Really, week 1 is the best.
Yeah, it is.
There's
Because
so much you can do.
DraftKings
So much
doesn't
you
know
can
how
do.
to gauge the salary.
Nope.
So, I mean, if you can see where the value is, it's an easy.
Or maybe they do, and we just don't get it.
I think they're just inviting you to play basically whoever you want.
No, I feel like we usually have great week 1s.
Have we
Because
got out of the shoot week 1 really good?
think
I know
we've done okay.
2 years ago I lost week 1 in Rays League by we lost week 1 by like that was before show because 2 years ago we didn't start the show
That's
till
right.
3 years.
Yep.
Yeah. So we've only had one week 1 together.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll start a new trend this year and score 200 points. Week
That'd
1,
be-
200 week 1 is the goal, right?
That'd be the bomb right there.
I think we're going to easily take first. It's not even a question in my mind, honestly.
I love your confidence. I don't know why you wouldn't be confident though. We put out some stuff lately. Okay. Let's switch over to tight end real quick. Any other receiver? We talked upper echelon. What about the lower echelon?
I mean,
receivers?
There's just so many players.
we did the St. Brown love. Everyone
Oh,
heard that.
We
I mean,
love
Brandon Cooks, I think, could be good.
You're high on Lazard, so talk about that a bit.
Yes, I really do like. I think that he. I've listened to a lot of Aaron Rodgers talk, and he seems to be very honest about the situation. He said he trusts no rookie receiver. He trusts no one but Lazard right now. And then he went on to say each running back would have 50 catches. I think Lazard is a touchdown machine. I think he gets a lot of those same plays that they ran for Adams, where there are Z-in plays where, he kind of rolls out, he Z's in, and they just time it up. I think those are going to go to Lazard. I think he has over 10 touchdowns. I think he has over 1,000 yards, and I think he probably has about 80 to 100 catches.
And he was undrafted, wasn't he?
He was a quarterback coming out.
He was a quarterback coming
out
out
of Virginia Tech.
Okay.
Yeah, and kind of drafted as a tight end, and then moved over to the wide receiver role.
I mean, another guy I like this year that I think is going to be sneaky at receiver is DJ Moore.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
you think about the quarterbacks he's had the last 3 years. He's had the corpse of Cam Newton. He's had Kyle Allen, Sam Darnold.
Yeah, it's
I mean, the
been a
list
struggle.
is just impressive.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Baker Mayfield, I think, is by far the best quarterback he's had in the last
Which
3
is
years.
not saying a lot
And
still.
all DJ Moore has done in the last 3 years is gain over 1,100 yards every season.
So on
Receiver.
Max, I saw your question. Yeah, we'll take some questions.
Yeah, for
Fire
sure.
a question. We're here for a little while.
Yes.
We're going over just doing some.
while he types that, what do you guys feel about Elijah Moore this year?
I'm kind. When I was asking the question about offenses that could be a lot better than advertised, the Jets kind of came to mind. I mean, if you think about what they've assembled there, Hall was a great running back at Iowa State. Carter was a great running back in North Carolina. Moore, a Mississippi kid. They just got a lot of talent. Now they lost their quarterback, obviously, but they've got a veteran who can kind of just get it to where it needs to be. So
Yeah.
they picked up 2 tight ends. They got Conklin, and I can't think of who the other one was right off the top of my head.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But they've I think the Jets altogether could be a sneaky good
I think the only thing that concerns me a little bit is they lost their stud offensive lineman in the preseason.
Right.
I forget his name. He's an Alabama kid. But I think they should be okay. They got Garrett Wilson, the young, I think the receiver, the rookie receiver.
Yeah, that's one I didn't forgot
yeah.
to mention. Yes.
And then
Garrett Wilson. Yeah, that's what. Again, this is like similar to the St. Brown story where they drafted this high wide receiver, and everyone was thinking like maybe they're not going to get as much work as last year. But both of them were rookies last year, so it's not like the new rookie is going to take over the production.
I like what Robert Saleh is doing for the Jets. I think they're building a good young team.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like they're fine, but week 1 there's so many good plays.
There's a lot. I gotta
There's so
pee.
many.
So I'm surprised that in talking about cheap wide receivers for week 1, you guys have not said anything about Tony yet.
He's so cheap. I mean, he's 4,100.
I mean, how dirt is that?
It's just sort of ridiculous.
What about okay? Finish your thoughts on him.
I mean, another guy right there. If you want to kind of roll the dice, is George Pickens for Pittsburgh.
That's the next one I was going to ask you. And then Rondell Moore is another
Yeah,
one.
Rondell Moore. I mean, it should be a shootout. I mean, they're going to try and feed him the ball.
Man, you can really. And then Nico Collins is around this price too.
Yep. There's a lot of good value. I like Jahan Dotson this year for Washington
As a rookie?
Yeah, I mean, I think he should be the number 2 receiver there. So.
Did you see Chenault got traded to the Panthers?
Oh, that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I like that. But yeah, I think there's just so many good receivers this week.
What about Palmer for the Chargers at 3,800? I mean, he's a kid out of Tennessee. He's only, a second-year player?
And he did flashes last year.
Yeah. Anyway, it's going to be interesting to see how the Chargers come out.
Palmer had flashes last season, and he had a good preseason this year, but I feel like he's still going to be the third guy. So, I mean.
Yeah, but at 3,800, right? I mean,
yeah, something could happen.
Yeah. Anyway, lots of interesting choices.
He asked his question up there.
Okay, Max. Awesome. Thanks. I would like to know your thoughts on Chubb versus Fournette. Who would you rather have at running back two?
Well, that's a good question.
Those are both great options.
I'd like to know the scoring. If
Yeah.
you could give us that.
Let us know if it's point per
If it's
reception.
points
or
per
not.
reception, that's kind of important, I think, in this one.
And
Because
also,
that leans toward Fournette,
Yeah,
right?
he got like
Correct.
70 catches
Yeah.
last year.
if it's bonus too for 100 yards, that would lean towards Chubb. So let us know if there's any bonuses or any point
If it's
per reception.
PPR, I think I would lean Fournette.
Agreed.
And if it's standard scoring, I think I would go Chubb.
If there's DFS bonuses, that would also help with
Yeah,
Chubb.
Full
I think
PPR.
Fournette is probably the guy.
Yeah, Fournette for sure.
Yeah.
But you got two good
That's
ones.
a good question.
Yeah,
Max.
and you got two good ones, Max.
Which
So,
again, this just leads me to a question that I
I'm
forgot
curious,
about.
Max, who is running back one in that grouping? Since you said that.
So, what do you think about Julio Jones with Tom Brady?
I'm not in daily or in season long. I'm stayed away from drafting any Julio Jones, but in preseason, Julio Jones has looked like he's healthy and he's out there playing.
Right, and Tom Brady loves throwing to veterans.
Yeah.
Like it's palpable. Like
There's
it's
a chance
it's proven.
that both Evans and Godwin week one are right. Like,
I'm a little bit bearish on the Buccaneers this year.
yeah, I'm over the Buccaneers.
I feel
I
like
can say that for a fact.
I feel like Tom Brady is just at some point Father Time's going to catch up.
Well, listen. Here's the thing. I've thought that for the last
Me
5
too.
or 6 years. Before
yeah.
the season starts, I've thought the same thing, and then the season starts and he kills it.
The players ranked Tom Brady the number one player in the NFL. Did you see that in the voting? So the players still think he's got it. So
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean,
before we move on to tight end, I want to hear your guys' Tony talk. I'm surprised this is all I've got.
So,
yeah, he
well,
looks great.
I mean,
I thought we loved him. I thought
I do love Tony, and especially I like Tony even more now that I hear that both of you are on to Daniel Jones. My only concern is his injuries. Like
Yeah.
He had the best probably game out of all the rookie riders, the individual game.
an individual game. Yes,
Yeah.
he had
We
like
had him that week, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We did.
Yeah.
I made a good amount of money that week.
The Tony week was a good week.
He had 180 yards, like 18 targets.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was ridiculous. And so if he could be healthy, I feel like that's the standard. I mean, not the standard, but it's not unrealistic to expect that from him.
Okay, the last guy before we move on to tight end, coming in at 4,000 is Rondell Moore. That's an incredible price for him with playing against Kansas City with all the injuries.
It is, and if you look at the depth chart, I mean, they've got to get him involved, right? I mean, is it Hopkins? He's not playing the first week, right?
No, he's suspended for
Yeah.
like 6 or 4 games.
Yeah, AJ Green is not. I mean, come on. So
he's
it's
done.
like Rondell Moore and Marquise Brown are the two primary weapons, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I would think they're going to get him the ball. Yeah, he's definitely. I mean, I think I'd probably lean more over Tony week one.
Tony week one.
Yeah,
Tim
if he's
Moore?
healthy, if he's going to start, I'd lean towards Tony. What does he say? What is Matt saying?
Oh, he
Max
just
saying?
answered my question. Said it's a 12-man league, and then he still hasn't drafted, but he's going to go CMC number 2, and he was looking for his second-round choice.
Okay.
I don't know what your what type of league. If it's two, if you're doing 1, 2, 2, 1, that's a fine draft. If you're doing 1, 2, 3, 2, which is some of the higher stake leagues do, you might want to look more wide receiver in the first 2 rounds, but. 10-man league, I think 12-man league in a 1, 2, 2, 1 format, you can get away with taking 2 running backs first.
I think it's good that we're like doing both daily and full season in one
I
show.
think early on they cross over a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't mind doing week 0 as this is for us. I think a lot of crossover from daily and
I think it's good because
I feel like when I'm picking one or two in best ball, I'm obviously going like either Taylor or CMC.
Yeah, I go a lot of wide receiver.
But then I'm usually going wide receiver in the second and third picks.
I think that it's proven over time that you need to get one running back in the first 6 picks, but if you go 5 out of the 6 wide receiver in a high-stakes league where it's 2-3-2 and you can start as many as 5 wide receivers.
You can have an anchor back and then like build around that.
That's what I kind of like to do.
Yeah.
With the second pick, just to tell you what I did, Max, I did a second pick draft the other day. I took Jefferson second, but because I'm not.
Wow, how did you get Jefferson second? Justin Jefferson?
Yeah, I mean, not in the second round, second pick.
Oh, second overall pick.
Yeah.
Okay.
I passed on Taylor. CMC went 1. I took Jefferson 2, and then I went Williams and Etienne. So that was how I worked the second pick. Anyway, and we move on. Tight end.
All right.
So
I have some questions. Yep.
Ask your questions, Jared.
All right, so this is I want to know, who do you think is going to have a better season? I want to know if it's either Kelsey or Pitts.
Pitts. No, Kelsey.
Kelsey?
I don't know, man. That's a twink.
I know. I need to know. I just need to hear the
I
insight.
can't believe you guys haven't said anything about Mark Andrews.
No,
well,
I think he has a reason for asking.
Yeah, I have a reason. Of course, I think Mark Andrews is going to have a good season, but I want to know, who do you think is going to be better between Kelsey and Pitts?
I think Kelsey.
Yeah, it's hard not to say Kelsey, but I want to say Pitts.
I know it does. I feel that because they don't have Tyreek Hill anymore. I understand that Patrick Mahomes, he's gonna spread the ball around, but I still feel like this actually might be Kelsey's best year.
Can I say one more thing?
Of course.
I think if you have Andrews, Pitts, or Kelsey on your roster, they're in a tier like all by themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And after that, it's like a second and third tier.
I'm not feeling good about Kittle this year at all.
I'm a little bit down on Kittle as well.
Yeah.
My belief is that you can literally wait till the 18th round and season long to take a tight end if you choose to. You can take Hayden Hurst.
Absolutely.
I think
Hayden Hurst, Noah Fant.
I like Hurts a lot for the position he's
somebody
in.
like that. If you're going to take up, I think the 2 to take in the early rounds are Andrews and Pitts.
I would agree with that. I also think that Kittle and Dallas Goedert are the same player this year.
I agree.
Oh, I love Goddard. Are you still high on Gesicki, or is it kind of changed? Yeah.
You've heard what's happened with Gesicki, right?
Yeah, I guess he's not very involved in the offense.
Well, the head coach, who is the San Francisco coach, who I thought would make Gesicki great because he made Kittle great.
Yeah, that was your selling point.
But the difference between Kittle and Gesicki is that Kittle can actually block interior line type of, and they don't flex the tight end out in this offense. So they've actually put Gesicki on the block. That they're asking to try to find a more blocking style tight end and let someone else use Gesicki.
I don't know if I apologize if you said this, but I also heard that they're using him as a receiver.
As a wide receiver.
Yeah.
It's because their offense doesn't flex out the tight end.
Right.
So he can't block, evidently.
Yeah.
He's not a blocker at all.
Which also, since we're talking tight end,
Waller can't block either, by the way.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about Albert O?
He can block. Actually.
I feel like
Can he block? I heard he can't block.
He can't block.
That's what I heard.
So here's what I think about Albert O. What I have learned is like the cream kind of rises to the top in the NFL. Meaning Albert O was a 5-star, #1 recruit, top 5 recruit in the nation coming out. He made a weird choice and went to Missouri. He had OU and Alabama, I think, on the list and went to Missouri. He died a death of unrelevance there, even though he had some huge games. And now he's gotten drafted, and he beat out Fant, right? Like he was so good that they shipped. Fant was a first-round pick for the
But didn't they draft like a first-round pick at tight end this year, like Gorsuch or something like that, or Dortch?
I don't think he was a first-round. Oh, Gorch or whatever.
Gorch, yeah.
Anyway, I think Albert O is the starter right off the bat, and he's terribly talented. He just remember we actually won. I think the week we won last year, Albert O made a big play in for us.
we definitely played him some.
We played him twice. I know, but yeah. You sound like you might be a little down on him.
I'm not down on him. I feel like the coach is not a big Albert O fan from what I've been reading. But I mean, we'll see. That's why they play.
And
He's definitely
Jockey
talented.
looked great in the preseason game the other day. somebody that kind of was really highly touted coming out and then fell off the board. Irv Smith Jr.
Yeah, I was just about to say his name. He had a good preseason.
That guy was a stud in college. Another former number 1 high school recruit who got injured and is kind of forgotten about. I love Irv Smith Jr. I think he could be really.
Yeah,
really,
I feel like he has a
we talked
healthy
about
career.
we talked about Hurst. I think Hurst is a
Hurst with Joe Burrow. I mean, we saw what he could do with Uzuma. Was that was his name, right?
yeah.
he's
And
now
Zuma,
a Jet.
that's the guy in the Jets.
He's a Jets.
That's who
He's
we're
a Jet now.
But
yeah.
he's banged up, and so Conklin is kind of the guy that's taking that role. Conklin has a great matchup week 1.
For some reason, I'm still hearing Logan Thomas's name, but I have no hope in it at all.
I still have a little.
You
bit
do?
of a
You
Logan
still,
Thomas
got, you still
believer.
got a little hope.
I
in
think when the percentage ownerships come out next week, Hayden Hurst will be that most highly owned tight end.
Wow.
Week 1. I mean, he's just so cheap.
And he's pretty cheap.
I got a couple other dumpster dives.
Or
at tight
Pitts.
end.
I guess Pitts could be a. Who's your other dumpster dive? I would like to hear these.
Brevin Jordan at Houston.
Yep.
I think he's like just the number 1 tight end there. Tommy Tremble for the Carolina Panthers. I think Baker's made tight ends look kind of good.
I mean, Njoku had weeks.
Yeah,
but
yeah, and
not
Tremble's the
seasons.
only tight end really there.
How much is Trimble week 1?
3,100. And then this is one of JMJ's favorite guys, Jonnu Smith from New England.
Yeah, I like Johnny
I
Smith.
mean, he might be the fastest wide receiver they have. Like literally, like they have no speed at receiver.
I've heard that's the. If you guys want to talk about teams to stay away from, I've heard that the New England offense is in chaos right now.
Yeah,
Really? That's
well,
not good for Mac Jones.
Belichick's calling plays.
They're trying to figure out who's going to call plays. I've heard it's just the offense
Yeah.
is in shambles.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Trimble's 3,100 week 1. Hurst is 3,300. What about Mo Alley Cox? Do we know who's going to take over for Indianapolis as the tight end?
So as far as what I'm reading, he's the dude. I mean, he had a few decent preseason games, but I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say, but I feel like he's the dude.
I like it. Okay. Let's wrap this up. I mean, I don't think we really need to get into the groundbreaking.
One
talk
other
about
guy,
defense.
Cole Kmet,
Oh, okay. Back to the tight end.
3,700. I think is good value.
So that he's where now? He's in
Chicago.
Chicago.
I'm just worried about that offense.
Yeah, I've been hearing his name a lot, and I've just shut it off almost every single time. I'm not high on Kmet at all this year.
Okay. So since we're not going to go over defense, even though I think the Ravens against the Jets week 1 is a pretty good matchup. I like Chicago against San Francisco also. Let's wrap this up. We're going to have a show next Tuesday before Julio and I will be boots on the ground in Vegas.
Yeah.
When do you guys get back?
Monday.
Yeah.
Monday? All right.
So we'll
We'll be drinking champagne on the flight back
after we win
celebrating our
week
week
1.
one.
Yeah, you guys will probably be on a bender, so I was going to say for our first show, we should. I mean, you won't because you don't drink, but
Thank you.
But
I do. I drink for both of us.
And I smoke for all of us.
I say it'd be fun to have a drink on our first show, even though I'm already.
You're welcome to have a drink on your first show. I
Hey, real
highly
quick,
recommend
so
it.
shout out to Brian. It's good to have the fans listening and again.
And Brian is the reason we have a TV to
Yeah,
watch this and
yeah.
a sound bar, and the cords
Thank you,
are
Brian, for all
somewhat
you do.
organized. Thank you, Brian, for listening and helping.
So good to hear football talks again. I
Right?
agree. I
would
agree, Brian.
Brian's working, so he's listening to us as he works. Thanks,
And
Brian.
Ivan and Drew, I'm not
Yeah.
going to try.
Max, thank you. Sebastian, thank you. Ivan, thank
the
you.
Terrible.
Brian, thank you for all your help.
Our number one fan,
Putting
Matt,
the
is
studio
probably
together.
out there somewhere. We'll probably watch later. Thank you. Jess just drafted his big league. Thank you, Jess. Guys, anyway, fire questions in the chat. We'll try to answer them next week when we come on. And
Makes me feel good that whenever we froze, it was just a software update.
good. Yeah, I think
everything else went flawless.
smoothly. I felt like the whole show went smoothly.
I just got to figure out this camera.
The
'cause
sounds work. Well, yeah. Yep, they definitely work.
I want this camera back on Juice because he looked too good on
Yes.
it. So
Yes.
I'll probably just
I think we did. I thought we focused.
Nope.
We froze.
I'll probably just bring a new camera.
Are we
If this
thinking-
one's broken, I'll just bring another one.
We
Because that's actually a great wide shot if we can use it for it, because all we have to
I would
do is
rather have
shift
the
it.
wide shot and the 3 individual shots and once we have Emmy to
Yeah, I just got to figure out this.
Well, guys, give us any feedback you like. Let
I
us
have
know any
one
questions
question.
you have. Yes,
So
fire.
our starting lineup is going to be just Pierce. That's it. We're just rolling with Pierce.
Yeah, see, I just put that in there. Yes.
Pierce
It's
to
gonna be
win
the
it all.
Pierce versus the world. My
Don't like
40
anybody but Pierce this week.
My 4,800 versus yours. Well, good. Anyway, I enjoyed it. And we will look forward to putting our week 1 lineups in. We'll discuss that. We'll have a week 1 lineup for you next Tuesday. And then we'll be boots on the ground in Vegas. So
Boots on the ground.
we'll let you know how things. I'm excited. Anything else? Wait, we can talk about anything. We got time. So if you guys need to throw anything in there before we go,
Let me just
overall
Baru-
thoughts of anything, just random fantasy thoughts. Julio, have you done any season long drafts yet?
I don't do season long anymore.
Oh yeah, you
Oh,
just
you don't
killed
just
it.
best ball?
He's
I-
got too much DFS.
It's too boring to me.
Oh,
honestly,
okay.
Honestly, like I can't do season long anymore. DFS has just ruined the season long experience.
I understand, but I like
But
the old.
if you put $1,000 on a season long team, would that make it more fun?
I guess, but I think my problem with season long is like you're 1 or 2 injuries away from there's nothing you can do.
I've heard a lot of that lately.
All right, I do have some questions for wide receivers before we end pouring this.
You
I
got a
got a
draft
few
coming
guys.
up? You got a draft coming up?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm done. Well, I got my family draft, but that draft, it literally doesn't matter. It's just whatever.
I think they all matter.
Well, there's no money on it, so it's just for
It's
bragging
called pride.
rights. Yeah, pride. It's for pride. That's all it is.
We're a prideful group.
All right, so we don't like, and I'll end it here after this. I just have a few questions on wide
Okay,
receivers.
no, hit it.
So Mooney for Chicago. What's your feeling?
I'm just fading Chicago altogether. Other than Montgomery, I've drafted Montgomery on some teams.
All right, so not a good feeling for Mooney. What about you, Juice?
I mean, they got to throw the ball somewhere.
So you think it's gonna go to Mooney?
I think Mooney and Komet.
He might catch one of the 9 pass attempts. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the 9. All right.
Fields
So
looked good this past week, by the way.
I don't know. I'm not ready to say Fields is good.
yeah,
yet.
I'm not either. Josiah's high on him.
Let me ask you this. This is a legitimate question. If you could redraft today, would you take Justin Fields if you're the 49ers or Trey Lance?
Lance.
Yeah, I think Lance. What about you?
Why? What's he done?
Preseason, Lance is hyped right now. He's going
He's
in the
hyped,
8th
but he hasn't
round.
done anything. His preseason's been
Dude,
pedestrian.
He takes one step and he's 3 yards. Literally.
Well, I guess it's true.
I mean,
Actually, his
Fields-
preseason's been pretty
Fields
bad.
can run too, though.
They
Fields
bo-
was one of the top.
Which again leads me to another question I think about. Do you think Willis is going to take the job by the end of the season for Tennessee?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
He looked phenomenal this preseason.
Yes.
He looks so good.
If that game was any indication, the answer has to be yes. Did you watch that game?
He looks good.
Yeah.
He looks good for
He
sure.
looks great.
Yes. If you're in a dynasty team league and you still have a draft and you can get him late, you might as well take him.
Might as well take him. It seems good.
This is my last thing on the Fields thing.
I also like Ritter, by the way, in Atlanta.
Yeah, I've got a buddy that likes Ritter.
My thing with Fields is the deck that he's playing with compared to the deck that Trey Lance is playing with is not the same deck,
I agree.
right? I mean,
Yeah, I
Every
can
time I
absolutely
watch
see that.
Fields play, every time they snap the ball, he has like 2 seconds to do it. It just seems like he's running for his life.
yeah, I agree.
Anyway, I'm down on both offenses, to be honest.
All right.
Okay.
So Mooney is all right. Is the consensus is what I'm feeling.
I
All
think
right. What
he's
about
gonna be the best of a bad team.
how do you feel like Robert Woods is going to outperform everyone's expectations or under?
Tennessee's another team that I haven't drafted hardly anybody off of. I did take Trey Burks in a draft where I was taking a bunch of rookie wide receivers. I don't know what to think about Tennessee.
So they got Trey
Traylon
Burks.
From
who's
Arkansas.
caught like one pass in preseason for a touchdown.
He had a touchdown
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah,
And then we got Robert Woods on that team, and then
It's a weird team.
it's a weird
it's
team.
a weird team.
Which makes me feel like Derrick Henry's going to be even more used, and it doesn't matter if they're going to plan for it. It's fucking Derrick Henry.
He still costs
Here's one
$8,600.
real quick. One team we did not mention at all, which I think is interesting, are the Eagles.
Yeah.
What are
Well,
our
that was
thoughts on the
my
Eagles?
next one. That was my
Okay.
next one.
A.J. Brown?
No, my next question is what is your feeling about Devonta Smith?
Ooh, Devonta Smith. I think it helps having A.J. Brown, right?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
All their indication reports is that Jalen Hurts looks amazing.
Really?
Yes.
And they have a
Interesting.
lot. They have collected a lot of talent there.
Yeah.
They've got plenty of running backs. They've got plenty of wide receivers. They got a good tight end.
They're
Hurts
saying that Hurts is going to take a big step this year.
All right.
And we played Hurts
a lot last year
in cash almost every week.
Yeah.
All right. So who do you think's going to be better, A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith?
A.J. Brown.
A.J. Brown?
I mean, as far as fantasy point production, A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be very similar to the Seahawks with Metcalf and Lockett.
Yeah.
You're going to have some big weeks from Smith, but I think Metcalf is kind of the A.J. Brown.
Okay.
They are very similar to Seattle teams of old.
All right. So I think this is my last one, but Bateman for Baltimore.
I'm not a fan, but other people that I trust in the industry are.
I don't really know.
You don't know?
I mean, I'd rather have the guy I'd rather have Higgins or somebody, on a second wide receiver on a team that's going to throw 70 times a week, downfield.
So you guys aren't feeling Bateman?
I'm not, but they're, like I said, people that I trust in this industry are really high on him and say he's very tough.
Josiah's high on Bateman. I can't figure it out. I don't know if,
well, when I think fantasy industry, I think Josiah. So
I mean, we sort of touched on this, but we didn't. What do we think about Juju in Kansas City?
We did. We started that and we never finished.
We didn't finish it. I'm not high on Juju.
I just heard it. The last thing I heard was I heard people talking on a pod that they said that they think he is going to be the for sure one, and he could be a 100 reception guy. I don't believe it. But
who's the rookie they drafted?
Skyler Moore.
Skyler Moore. So apparently he's got similar.
They have like 8 wide receivers.
So he's got a similar build to Tyreek Hill. He's fast and he has gigantic hands.
Yeah,
is what I'm hearing.
They've got Moore. They got Valdo Scantling.
He's the anti.
I don't care about Scanning. I think Scanning's going to be a nothing.
See, a lot of people think he's going to be a big receiver.
So Skyler Moore is the anti Kyle Pickett.
Size? Yep. I feel like Scantling is going to be.
There's another tight end we didn't talk about that I love, Freiermuth.
I feel like Scantling in Kansas City is going to be nothing, and everybody that drafted him is going to regret it. And I feel like Sky Moore is going to emerge into something, and I don't know what to think of Juju.
I would like Pittsburgh.
I think Kansas City's a tough pick for me. We said that they're one of the offenses that we should be focused on, and they're one that I like from running back to wide receiver. Nothing makes
it's hard, yeah, because even
Kelsey
with their running backs
makes sense to me,
yes.
But the rest seem like questions.
Even with the running backs, it's a hard. I mean, with Isaiah, is that the backup with?
Are you talking about like Pachinko,
yeah, Pacheco with
out of Rutgers?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even the running backs are hard to figure out.
No, they're a tough team this year. We need especially from a DFS standpoint. I'd just wait a week.
All right, last running back question because I'm just going through everything that I was curious about. Dobbins for Baltimore.
I like Dobbins. He's coming back from a tough injury, but they say he is the clear-cut starter there. So
yeah, that's what it feels like. I mean, he's questionable.
2 years ago, he helped lead us to our second-place finish that last week.
Yeah.
And Gus Edwards is banged up, right? I
mean, yes.
He's like
I think he's on the PUP list, and he's not even going to be there.
I'm not even sure who their backups are. Are they?
I'm not sure either.
I like Dobbins. As long as he's healthy, I think he'll be great.
Okay, so no, and then
I think in the NFL you can say that about everybody though, as long as they're healthy.
Yeah, Bryce Hall or Michael Carter.
The industry has Hall going like 5, 6, 7 rounds before Carter in most fantasy drafts. I don't get it. Carter is a great back. He already knows the system.
I agree.
He may be the pass catching back. Hall is another great running back, but he's a rookie, and Carter's there. I think Carter's the smarter pick in the round that you get him in a season.
I agree 100%.
But I also think that Hall is very talented, and there's a reason they took him. They have 2 good backs. They got 2 really good running backs on that team.
That's not a bad problem to have.
Yeah, and I agree that I think Michael Carter might end up being the dude that produces more than Hall.
If you look at his numbers, for a guy who started off really slow, he came on to be a steady fantasy contributor on a team that scores no touchdowns.
Yeah,
so
it's true.
That's really tough to do.
All right, and I'll just end it here because I keep coming up with more questions. I
don't mind it.
I like listening. To
Jamal Williams for Detroit. What's the feeling there?
Swift is unbelievable.
Swift is unbelievable. Do you think
so? Swift is one of the understated players of this year going in, meaning he's going later than he should, and I think every time he's healthy and he just produces.
Okay, so
watching Hard Knocks, the running back coach would convince you the guy's already in the Hall of Fame. So Deuce Staley says he's the that he will be the best.
So you feel like Jamal Williams is nothing, basically?
I just don't see. Are you talking about from daily or season long?
Well, either. I mean, like, do you think he's going to be like the pass down guy or
No, I think Swift's going to be a 3 down
just
back.
everything, all of it?
I think he's going to get series, meaning he'll get series where he's the 1 through 3 down back, and Swift will get like 3 out of 4 series or 2 out of 3, and Williams can do it all too when he's in there.
Oh, no, wait. I do have to ask this question too. James Conner, do you think
He's been highly debated.
he's actually going to put up the numbers similar to what he did last year?
Juice, take that one.
I think when James Conner is healthy, he's one of the better running backs in the league.
All right,
I mean,
and
he's proven that.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And if you had to protect yourself, is it Eno Benjamin?
No.
It's who's that other guy?
Benjamin, I mean, like, it wouldn't surprise me if he's not on the roster. Like,
really?
At some point, yeah.
I thought he
who
was.
is the backup? They have
They got, I think it's Keonta Ingram is one of their
Yes,
rookie
the guy out
guys
of
that
Texas,
they're really high on.
he was out of Texas and transferred to USC for his last year.
Yeah.
That kid was another highly recruited running back out of high school that just never found his spot in the NFL or in the college and could break out in the NFL.
So you feel like Eno Benjamin? No.
I don't think he has very much value at all, like for season long or really anything.
He was
at this
great in
point.
college.
Yeah, but they're just not into him anymore. They drafted this kid, and I think they're going to want to work him in.
The backup in Baltimore is Mike Davis, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He won us some money.
Yes.
He did. He did. He won us.
We have a soft spot for Mike Davis in our hearts.
I like Mike Davis. He's a guy who never just really found his home.
I think that's all I got.
Let me see something real quick. While we were looking at Arizona running backs, they also have Daryl Williams from Pittsburgh. That's it.
Yeah. Yep.
I knew
Which,
they had.
as far as I could tell, he was going to be the backup.
Yes, I believe he is the backup, and I think Ingram is ahead of Benjamin.
Wow. So Benjamin's fourth tier there.
I think,
is
like
the
Julio said,
consensus
he's a
here.
consensus to not make the roster, or he's a chance to not make the roster.
Which I guess we should find out today, possibly.
Maybe.
Here's who Kansas City has listed as wide receiver right now: Hardman, Moore, Schuster, Smith, Valdez, Hardman, Moore, Watson, Powell, who's out of Clemson, Coleman, Ely, Ross. They don't even list that guy Fortson. Where's Fortson? He had 2 touchdowns in one game.
But
He's a tight end, I think.
my big takeaway from that is that right now, Skyler Moore is like 5th on the depth chart receiver.
Yeah.
But I think by the end of the year, he's going to be
He's going to be what?
he's going to be really integrated into that offense.
So we got a question from
This is a good trade question.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, I like this one.
And I have one more. I found another.
Okay. Brandon Cooks and Singletary for Etienne. Are you getting Etienne or are you trading away Singletary and Cooks? Because I would trade away
I think
Singletary.
he's trading away Singletary and Cooks because that's who he had
Yeah.
on his team before.
I would take Etienne for that. For sure.
I've already said it. I'm not high on Etienne at all, but
I like Etienne.
Is it a dynasty? Is it a redraft?
I'll be getting.
If it's dynasty, I like
He'll be
Travis
getting,
Etienne a little bit
is
more.
what he's
Yeah,
saying.
Cooks is a great receiver. So
He is.
he's a top 10 potential receiver. Etienne's definitely a top 10 potential back.
And that's someone we haven't talked about also, James Cook and Devin Singletary.
Yeah.
And Zach Moss. Like, what
Yeah.
are they going to do in Buffalo?
Buffalo's going to score so many points, right? So who's going to get them all?
Singletary kind of proved himself towards the end of last
He
season,
did,
right?
for sure.
So, Sebastian, I'm
So-
just going to go on record to say I would do that trade for sure. I don't know what these guys would say.
I think I would. I'd be leaning that way, too.
I don't like Etienne, so
Yeah.
probably go with what they're saying.
I have Jamar and Keenan as my receiver. Yeah, well, then you're solid. I'd go get
Yeah.
Etienne.
All right, so if I keep searching, I'll find more.
More questions? I enjoyed the questions. Thank you.
So, what is your guys' feeling on McCaffrey this year?
I'm fading him, but
That's kind of where I'm leaning.
obviously a week 1 daily fantasy, he's a great start. I mean, so.
I'm not going to fade him.
Oh, yeah. The industry standard is he has now worked his way into the 1-2 pick. He's either the 1 or 2 pick in almost every fantasy draft. So.
Yeah, he's still
Early on, he was like the 6, and so he's worked his way up.
worked his way up. Actually, on that point, St. Brown, he was like pick 60 or 70 at the start of
They need to
all
quit.
this.
Everybody needs to quit taking St. Brown.
And then at the end of best balls, he's now like low 40s.
Yeah, he's a great player. I'm a big fan. I'm glad that we all love St. Brown.
You know, another team we have not mentioned at all, is America's team, the Dallas Cowboys.
We really haven't, considering they had the most.
One player from the Cowboys.
I took C.D. Lamb.
Well, I mean, C.D.
last
Lamb,
year.
obviously, I think he could be a top 5.
He's going way earlier than his production so far says he should. And
I think
in
it's
fantasy
fair.
drafts, but losing Cooper is huge for him, right?
Oh, I mean, that's more huge for Gallup, I think, than it is for him.
Gallup's pretty much out going into week 1.
Well, yeah, he's out, I think, maybe the first few weeks. But, I mean, when he comes back, I feel like he's a solid
Who's
solid
their
pick.
lineman, Tyron Smith or whatever?
So they got hurt linemen.
He's hurt.
They've got one of their wide receivers banged up. They've got C.D. Lamb, who drops
There's
passes.
a stat that Ezekiel Elliott averages 4.5 yards per carry with Tyron Smith and 4.0 without him in the lineup.
Yeah.
That's pretty significant.
That is.
C.D. Lamb and probably bust right now for them.
I mean, I could
I
just keep going.
took Dax in like the 14th round of a
Remember
draft.
they just printed money the first 3 weeks of the season last year?
Yeah,
to
they're
get the
amazing.
Cowboys?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Deebo Samuel. What's the consensus?
He's so good.
He is so good, but it
they
sounded
just-
like he doesn't want to be used as a running back.
No, he wanted to be paid for both.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Because-
I think he's fine with being used as a running back. But
Okay.
what he's saying is, if you're going to use me as a running back, my career is shortened.
It's going to shorten.
So
which it will.
Which is
you're going to have to pay me more like a running back
which
than a wide receiver.
Makes sense. There was several weeks last season where Deebo didn't really catch anything, but he had like 2 just long runs.
He's unbelievable running with the ball.
Yeah.
There's people that are fast, and then there's people who have the ball and can't be touched, and he's one of those. Chris Hart comes to mind, right? As far as somebody who
For sure.
may not have been the fastest person, but just couldn't be touched.
All right.
I like the questions. Those are good producer
All
questions.
right, I'll go 5 more minutes and then we'll call it because I can just keep coming up with more.
Oh, wow. 5 more minutes here, guys. This is his children's learning will suffer somehow, but
I mean, I could keep going. I just don't want to like take you guys'
okay,
time.
we'll cut this off in 5 minutes.
Okay.
So get your questions in now.
Do you feel like Waddle could have the potential to outperform Tyreek Hill?
These are good questions. So far, so good. What do you think, Julio? I say no, but before they had Tyreek Hill, the coach got on record and said, draft Waddle. Do you remember that?
I mean, didn't Waddle have 100 catches last
Yeah,
year?
he killed it. He killed it.
If you look at his rookie season there, he really had an amazing rookie
He
season.
did.
I like Waddle. And he's only more healthier going into last year than he was.
To me, it's more of a question about Tua than it is about either one of those guys.
Right.
I think Tua's a good quarterback.
I don't.
You think he is?
Yes.
Or yeah,
I'm
okay.
high on Tua.
All right.
I think he'll be just fine. He averaged 17 points a game last year as a fantasy quarterback with a terrible offensive line.
You know what Tyreek Hill said? He said that he's more accurate than Patrick
He said
Mahomes.
that, and there's also been a lot of reports that the practices he's
It
just.
makes me think Tyreek is not the smartest kid
right? Yeah.
out there.
I don't
Yeah, it was
know.
not a good take in my
He
opinion.
looked amazing in college, right? I mean, there was tanking for
mean,
Tua. Remember?
What quarterback
It
that's
wasn't
played
tanking
for
for
Alabama the
Mahomes.
last 10 years has not looked amazing?
That's a. Who are all those other white guys they had?
They've all won national championships.
But they
They're
didn't
good.
necessarily look great. Can you even name the Georgia quarterback last year that won the national championship?
I can. Give me a couple minutes.
Yeah. That's kind of how I think about the Alabama quarterbacks. Give me a few minutes, I'll remember who they are.
I mean, look at their quarterbacks. They've had Jalen Hurts. They've had Mac Jones. They've had Tua.
The last 5 years have been good.
They're all starters in the NFL right now.
I agree. I kind of claim Hurts as OU's. But
I mean, who's the quarterback now? He's amazing for Alabama.
Love? Yeah, Bryce Love.
No. That plays for Alabama this year.
Bryce Love. And his name, what's
I
something?
think Love is the guy for the Jordan Love you're thinking of.
No, Bryce Edward. Bryce Evans? Bryce, what's his name?
From who? What team?
Alabama's quarterback.
Yeah.
Bryce
I
Young.
don't know.
Bryce Young.
Yes.
There you go. He's like going to be one of the top quarterbacks taken in this year's draft.
He won the Heisman last year.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes, Alabama's quarterbacks have been good as of lately. I agree.
All right, I have 3 questions that I think we could get into 5 minutes. Do you feel like when Aaron Rodgers retires, Jordan Love will be the guy, or do you think they're going to move on?
I think, yes. I think right now he would be, but I think he's going to have to get better to remain that person.
Juice?
Can we think of a more overrated quarterback of all time than Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, you think he's overrated?
He's overrated? What?
Oh, dude. What has he won?
You got some, you got that stuff on the screen?
Yeah, oh, my bad. I forgot we were hooked up.
Yeah. I just wasn't sure if you wanted it on there.
No.
He's won how many Super Bowls?
Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
One, I think.
Okay.
That's still pretty good.
Is it?
I mean, I guess. I don't know.
Here,
but
I
he's
will
been
do
a
this.
contender several times.
You know the difference between Aaron Rodgers and Chris Paul?
Who? I mean, what is I
One
said?
title. That's it.
One
They're the same guy. They're vastly overrated.
Okay, all right. I can see what you're saying. All right, so who do you think is going to outperform Aaron Jones or the other running back there, AJ Dillon? Who do you think is going to have a better fantasy season?
Man, I would love A.J. Dillon to just be the guy.
Okay, guys, what I brought up on the screen for you, just for some content talk. This is a draft board from the first World Championship of Fantasy Football, high stakes. The guy drafting in the 5th spot, Cocktails, and I can't remember the name, Cocktails and something, is considered the best redraft player in the world.
Yeah, I remember you telling me this.
So if you want to look and see how he drafted,
What's his team?
His team is the 5th team.
I can't see that.
Chase,
I
Jones.
can't see it either, but it's the 5th column if you can't.
I had
see
the 3rd pick in this draft. He went Chase, Jones, Fournette, Gabriel Davis. Oh, somebody we didn't talk about. I love Gabriel Davis. Tien,
yeah.
London, Olive, Pierce.
Tien? Oh, Thielen?
Thielen. I call him Thielen.
Yep.
TN, actually.
Tien, London, Olave, Pierce, Wilson. So you notice he went a bunch of rookie receivers. Russell Wilson's his quarterback. And
That makes me feel good.
he took 3 tight ends. I thought in the 14, 15, and 16, I thought was really interesting. He went tight end, tight end, tight end. And Albert O was his first one off the board.
Oh, nice. Nice.
I had the 3rd pick. I went Kupp, Higgins, Moore, Metcalf, Cooks. So I went 5 wide receivers.
Oh, it's a 3 wide receiver league?
Plus
This
2
is a
flexes.
redraft league, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Plus 2 flexes.
It's 2 flexes, so you can use 5 wide receivers.
Yes. My running backs were Akers and Mitchell. And I went Pickens. And then I went guy that got shot, Henderson, Boyd, Spiller, Freiermuth, Stafford, Abdullah, Rodgers, Sermon, Hurst, Bills D, Ravens.
It seems pretty good.
Well, thank you.
I like it.
Yeah. I
Toby helped me draft this team.
All right, last question. What's the consensus on Najee Harris this year?
I'm getting higher on him. I was down because I thought Pittsburgh would be a really low-scoring team, but I'm kind of high on Trubisky. He's looked good in the preseason. I think they're actually going to score more touchdowns than I thought they would going into this year. What about you, Julio? Harris went in the 12 hole in this draft, by the way.
I really hope that Pickett wins that starting job. Kyle Pickett.
So you hope Trubisky loses his job?
Yes, I do. I just think Trubisky's not a good quarterback in the NFL. Just let Pickett take his lumps. They've got a young nucleus. Let them grow up together, man. That's. I mean.
So Julio, you would like this team. This guy went Delvin Cook, Tyreek Hill, Sutton, who I heard you say is going to be a top 5 receiver, Pitts, Devonta Smith, Edmonds, Hurts, which he paired up well, Schultz, Goddard. That's 2 good tight ends, right?
Yeah.
Back to back. And then took Hines, who Toby loves as a backup running back, pass catching backup running back, and then went a bunch of wide receivers that I'm not necessarily huge on. Anyway, I thought this would be.
I like that team.
I know I said the last question, but this is legitimately the last question.
What about hold on, one more.
Okay.
This guy walked the plank as another known drafter. Swift, Pittman, Andrews, St. Brown, Kirk, Tony, Stevenson, Herbert, Pacheco, Gainwell. That's strong.
You went Gainwell, that he's in Philadelphia as a backup running back?
I like Swift, and I like Pittman as a 1-2
And
starter.
I like Andrews in the 3rd round.
Yeah, and then St. Brown.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I'm never going to hate the St. Brown pick.
Now, he's a little heavy on Detroit. I wouldn't go Swift and St. Brown, to be honest. But I can, if he likes, like Julio, who thinks they're a sneaky scoring team.
I think they're just going to be very good.
So
the interesting thing about this, since we are doing some crossover between redrafts, are you notice there's me, who's drafting 5 receivers in a row, and then there's Team 6, who takes Eckler and Mixon to start off.
Man, I've never liked Mixon any season, but he's still.
He's coming off great numbers.
Yeah.
Anyway, two completely different strategies by people who are considered to be experts in drafting. So it's interesting that what different takes you can do on this.
All right, last question. If Trubisky is good, who's the wide receiver to have?
I mean, if you watch the preseason, it's Pickens, right? But
yeah, Deontay Johnson's still there.
But Deontay Johnson's going to
And Claypool's still there.
Claypool's banged up. And there's a chance that Pickens takes this. He's playing in the slot. There's a chance that
I think if Trubisky is the quarterback, Deontay Johnson's the guy. I think if Pickett's the quarterback, Pickens is the guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably fair.
All right. Well, I'm happy with those questions. Like I said, I could keep coming up with more because these are things I've been thinking about. But that seems like a good first show. We had an update that screwed up the first part of the.
We're working on it, guys.
The stream, but we're gonna be live every single week.
How long did we go?
We went probably 2 hours.
Oh wow!
Oh wow! Did we?
Yeah, it's
pregame show.
2:00. So I mean, more than 2 hours.
Well, we didn't get right off the bat, and we had some delay in the middle.
Oh yeah, maybe just about 2 hours.
Well,
but
cool. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean I love doing this show because this is something that I do without a podcast. So yeah, we're gonna be live every Tuesday, noon, and then we'll have little clips.
Yeah, for your pleasure.
For pivot points. And we are the original pivot. So
Yeah.
if you're watching the other pivot podcast, it is
Bootleg.
It's a bootleg one because we've been around much longer.
We respect that you like the name, guys. But
Yeah, well, yeah. Which they know, they have to know who we are.
Appreciate
because
your questions. For you guys who are season-long fantasy players, I hope you're going to indulge in daily fantasy this year and follow along as we take on Ray's League. Ray's League is going to be hopefully expanded a little further. Maybe there has not been discussion whether it's going to be main slate only or not. So I'll see if there can be if that's going to change or not.
We're a daily fantasy football focused podcast, but we
I've got much more invested in season long this year, so you'll be happy
but we
to
are
know that.
definitely season long involved as well. So thank you for joining today.
I'll hit
Thank
the
you
music.
for giving us the questions. It motivates us to keep going. So keep them coming.
Thanks, guys. That's good for a show. We got questions.
yeah.
A lot of good information.
Show's it over to the song hands. Let's win.